Hey YouTube, I've got a 2006 Mazda MPV here. This one's got the 3.0 V6, which I believe is sourced from Ford on these things. Customer complaint today is that the vehicle is very hard to start. I guess she considers it a no start. And when she does get it running, it stalls frequently. So let's see if we can get it to do this here. So I'm going to go ahead and try to give it a start. Alright, go figure, the second I get video rolling it won't do what it was doing. But what it was doing was it would start up and immediately stall. Now, I'm pretty sure I can replicate it. All I have to do is just rev it up a little bit and let go of the throttle and it may or may not stall. Yeah, see how just giving a little blip of the throttle, it nearly stalls. There we go. So basically it was doing something like that where it immediately start up and then stall. And you crank it over again and it would start up and stall. And the way I was able to get it running was to keep my foot on the throttle and hold the RPM up. So I believe this one's going to be a simple one. I've already looked at scan data, but we'll go ahead and go do some checks with you. So we've got 4scan here on a laptop. We're looking at the idle air controller. You know, the computer is attempting to do something with the idle speed, and we can go ahead and tell it what RPM we want. And I found that, okay, go figure, it's going to attempt to raise the idle speed. And as you can see here, it's not, we're barely above a normal idle speed, and I'm requesting like 4,000 RPM. IAC is maxed out at 100% duty cycle. So basically what we have here is, I'm pretty sure this is a sticky idle air control motor or solenoid. Yeah, this sucker is not responding. So we'll go do some preliminary checks. I'll show you what I tend to do when I'm checking these, and we'll get back to you in the next segment here. All right, we are in the engine compartment of this Mazda MPV, and sitting right on top of this 3.0 V6 right here is the IAC solenoid, or motor, if you want to call it that, but idle air controller. Now, here's the electrical connector here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to plug a, simple fuel injection Noid light. Usually the Bosch connector will fit. And we'll go over here and plug her in. All right, what we're doing here is we're checking the circuit integrity, just to make sure that we don't have a problem with the ground or the power, and this will check both at the same time. So I've got the Bosch port fuel injection Noid light plugged into the IAC harness here. So what I'll do is I'll cycle the ignition switch to the on position. And what you can see there is the lights on nice and bright, and it fades out. That's the PCM doing a self-check here. So we verified that we've got a good power and ground to the PCM. You don't really see too many issues with the wiring on these. Very rarely ever come across wiring issues on these Mazdas or Fords with a 3.0. So you always want to check. So that's what we're doing here. We got good circuit integrity. So we're going to go ahead and go after the IAC here. Okay, so we have determined that the IAC is most likely the culprit. What happens is over time the plunger in here gets stuck or it's not responsive. So we're just going to go ahead and replace it. We'll unplug the connector here. That's the release tab. You just push it in and then pull out. And then we got two, I believe those are either 8 or 10 millimeter nuts here, bolts, 8 millimeter. So we'll go ahead and loosen those, get those out. And I don't have my cameraman on me, so I will attempt to do it one-handed. They're not torqued down that tight, so should be able to pull them off pretty easily. So, forgive my poor camera work here. I usually try to have a cameraman here and my assistant. All right, so that bolt's loose. All right, you'll have a gasket. Sometimes it's a paper gasket like this. Sometimes it's a silicone one. Just make sure what you got here is clean before you install the new one. So I'll go ahead and grab the new one and clean up the surface here off camera. Usually I'm an advocate about getting genuine Ford, Motorcraft, or Mazda parts. In this case, we're kind of in a bind here. We want the vehicle running ASAP. We do have a CarQuest in town that did have the part in stock. This is the part number. It's a BWD, Borg Warner, I believe that's the name of the company. Some of us call it broke when delivered. So buyer beware with these. I'm not advocating to use these. I usually would go after an OE part like the Motorcraft or Mazda white box. So here's the new part. As you can see, it's nice and clean. Got the intake clean over here, and there's a little rubber gasket. So we'll go ahead and offer the gasket up to the surface there and get the bolts lined up and screwed back in. All right, slight correction to that. The rubber gasket that's supplied with this particular part is designed around the vehicles that have a plastic intake manifold. That gasket will not work. So because we are in a little bit of a bind here with the vehicle not really being able to be driven, I'm going to go ahead and reuse this old gasket. I don't normally do this, but I'll get another one on order for the time being, and we'll just go ahead and put this back in place here while we set the new idle air controller onto the intake. So basically just reverse of how we remove things. I would not be doing this if this gasket was not in good shape, but it came off in one piece, no problems. So we'll go ahead and reuse it for the time being. Gasket lined up, the screws or bolts lined up and threaded in by hand. So go ahead and just run them down the rest of the way. The torque spec on this is really light. I don't remember it off the top of my head. I want to say it's something like 8 foot-pounds, not much. So basically all, what you can muster with a 1/4-inch drive ratchet with one hand. So I will go and look up that torque spec for you and put it down in the comments, but for the time being, just give it a slight snug with this ratchet where I'm choked up right up against the head so I don't over tighten things. So that'll do it for right now. I'll go ahead and re-torque it here in a minute once I get that torque spec. But again, I'll put it in the comments down below. Okay, we've got the new IAC in place and torqued to spec. Go ahead and give this guy a try here and see if she'll start up and if we have good idle air control. So if you're doing this at home, there's no reason to, it's a plug and play. You don't have to have a scan tool to reset anything. The PCM will figure things out. As you can see here, we've returned to a normal idle speed. And once we get into 4-scan here, you can see here we're at a normal warm idle speed of about 700 RPM. If I blip the throttle, it no longer wants to stall. So pretty good confirmed fix here, but just to be sure, we're gonna go ahead and try to force this guy to, come up to like 3,000 RPM or so. Not touching the throttle. This is all computer command. And we've got good computer control of the idle speed. Look at that, 550 RPM, and it's pretty much trying to match it right there. Pretty close. So that's definitely, without a doubt, confirmed fix. All right, you see RPM here, 1600-ish. I've commanded it to 1666, and we're getting there. So I'm gonna call this a successful fix. Pretty quick and easy. You know, a do-it-yourselfer could probably get it done in 10 minutes or so. There's no reason to be afraid to do this repair yourself if you've got a basic set of hand tools and a little bit of knowledge. So anyway, I hope this helps, guys. If you like this video, please hit the like button, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I try to get videos like this posted a couple times a month. I know I've been slacking lately, but it's summertime. I'm really busy this time of the year. I do have some videos in the queue, so hopefully by come winter or fall, we'll have some more videos uploaded for you guys. So anyway, hope you guys are having a great day, and we will see you next time. Thanks.